Okay, hello, mindless legions of internet fans. This is Generation D20, and of course I am angry Bob, as the kids say. But tonight I'm not angry, because I'm not playing Magic, I'm doing something fun. Yes, you heard me. I'm reviewing Eminent Domain, a board game by Tasty Minstrel Games, TMG down there at the bottom. I stumbled onto Tasty Minstrel Games because I signed up for every newsletter that I can find. My email is just exploding over with game company newsletters, which I just enjoy doing because it's kind of my job here at the site to reach out to companies who might want us to review their stuff. And Tasty Minstrel Games said, "Hey, sure." They didn't even bat an eye. Said, "Hey, you guys are cool." I guess. I don't know, whatever. Maybe they had some extra shit lying around. So they sent me a number of stuff. Eminent Domain, though, is their most recent release, so we're going to go ahead and review that. Now, basically, it's kind of like playing Settlers of Catan in space, except it's all card-based. There's no actual board or hex tiles or anything like that. The center of the board is basically where you will put all of your stacks of cards. You'll notice there are essentially 5 of these. One is Survey, there's Warfare, Colonize, Produce, and Trade, which is essentially 2 cards. Come on, guys. And then Research. Now, the object of the game is to accumulate the most victory points before one of the stacks of the different types of cards go out. So if you use all of your Survey cards, then boom, game is over, tally up your victory points, and you're done. Now, there are some inherent problems with that, and I'll get to that in a moment. But let's talk about basically how the game is played. Each person is trying to get these. These are surveying alien planets. Okay, now you'll notice there are 2 numbers on top of there. One is your Warfare number, and the other is your Colonize number. So what you'll do then is when your turn comes around, you can play X number of Warfare cards. Then if you get up to that magic number of 2, planet flips over, and you get what it says on the other side. For instance, this planet here will give you 2 victory points, and it has a resource at the bottom. Now, the cards themselves are all high quality. This was a very well-made game, which is why I was eager to play it. When I saw them even talking about Eminent Domain, I was like, wow, this is something I could really get into. The pieces are all, kind of on the cheap side, but I can't, for them being a small press, I can't fault them too bad on that. This is no different than the wooden pieces you would get with Settlers of Catan. Now, the artwork, whatever, is actually very cool. For instance, I'll just pull out a random research card. The artwork is done very well, which you hopefully can see in this light. But, it's not shoddy by any means. So a lot of effort went into this game. So if we go into an overview of it, basically what happens, you get X number of cards, and you can play one of those cards as an action every turn. For instance, if you play Warfare, your action is you can either attack one planet or collect a fighter, which basically means you can get 1 chip to put on that planet, or you can attack the planet directly and flip it over. And then there is something called, now the action, however, is not mandatory. You can skip that phase if you want to use the cards to some other strategic advantage, which I won't get into in this review. But the second key thing there is called the roll, which is not going to focus, but the roll is basically where the real crux of the game lies. And it depends on how many number of players you have. For instance, this rule here says you can collect 1 fighter per Warfare card played. So if you were to use this as your role, you would draw from one of the 5 stacks, that automatically gives you one of those cards, and then you can play however many more you have in your hand, just as a bonus. Boom, 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 boom. For instance, if you take survey cards, you can look at that many planets, that sort of thing. Now, there are really two ways to get planets. One is warfare, the other one is colonize. So this really leads to two strategies of winning. One is to go and just grab as many planets as you can. The other would be to trade resources back and forth for victory points as fast as you can. Now, these victory conditions work differently depending on how many players you have. For instance, I found it very difficult to play a two-player game with this game because what would happen was, I would say the inherent flaw of this game is, if, for instance, we both want to play colonize and start colonizing planets, you can't really do it at the same time, because whoever goes first can have a distinct edge by grabbing as many planets as he can first, and then you can follow suit. But if for any reason he gets ahead on the colony game, those cards are going to run out, and then you're always behind. It's very hard to play catch up in this. Now, that isn't the case with multiplayer games like 3 or 4 people. We found this game plays best with 4 people because there are multiple win strategies. One, you can produce trade, you can go warfare, you can go try and just grab as many colonized planets as you can. Because then you can try and wear down the stacks more or less at an even pace. But if both of you are going warfare or whatever, it's whoever it does it the most efficiently is just going to win, and the second guy's not even going to come close. Every game we tried with 2 people, it was a very, very one-sided game. And so if I had to give this review any bad connotation, that's where it would be. I think it's a weak for 2-player. It's best, though, at 3 or 4. One other thing that was a weakness in the 2-player game is there was absolutely no reason to do research, because the game was over so fast. By the time you actually accumulated research points to where they would be of any advantage, the game was about over. Now, granted, that may be just a flaw in the way we were interpreting rules, the way we were interpreting the game was played. That said, the actual rule book in itself is a little sparse when it comes down to those types of situations. Does the planet flip over when you get to the 2 attack, or do you have to get the 2 attack and then 1 extra attack in order to flip it over? They don't really cover that, so we kind of made it up as we went. I think they were just going for simplicity's sake and not necessarily catering to the real rules nerds, like are typically made up of gamers. So I don't want to say that that the rules were an afterthought. I think a lot of development did go into this game, but it does have its ups and downs. That said, I would highly recommend Eminent Domain. I think Tasty Minstrel Games really does think about the players. Now, what you can and can't do with some of their limitations, I guess, just depends. I'm trying to see what the retail price for this was. I think it's around $40. I don't want to put words in the mouth, though. Yeah, I don't really see the retail price anywhere on the back of the game. So I'm going to refrain from that. I'll find all that information out, and I'll put it at the bottom of this review. So, Eminent Domain is a winner. Don't get me wrong. I like the look of it, I like the feel of it, I like playing it. I would just say, do yourself a favor, skip the 2-player game, and go straight for 3 or 4 players. Okay, so we'll be reviewing other Tasty Minstrel games. They sent a stack of them. This will just be one of many. I'll be doing a lot more of these reviews as the days go on. Okay, so that said, we'll go ahead and cut it off here. It's a good game. Go buy it. It's a no-brainer.